Hi, I'm Hannah. I'm a junior doctor doing anaesthetics. I'm a CT1 trainee, currently working at Preston at the moment. I came to med school from a different part of Oxford to the kind of place in Oxford that most people would come by med school. Oxford has quite a few different areas, and I came from what people would know as the dodgy end of Oxford. Most people, if they have any sort of money in Oxford, they send their children to private school. So there's quite a lot of private schools in Oxford, and it means that if you don't have much money, then you're left with the not so good schools in Oxford. Quite a lot of not particularly affluent areas, children who are struggling and not much funding in the schools, and I was in that area. So not many children end up going to university from that school, and not many children have much support from their parents. A typical class in my school was made up of children who were not really supported by their parents and had a lot of behavioural issues. They would often throw things in class, get on top of the tables, and do things to disrupt the class because they weren't interested, and it was just not a very good environment for learning. There was once a class where there was someone being arrested in the middle of the class. In French classes, although it's not science, it was French classes, that there were fire alarms going off, being set off because they didn't like the French teacher, so they would just set off the fire alarms, most classes. So we didn't really learn languages. I think a lot of children who were in the same situation as me can probably relate to that. So I went to school most days being picked on because I was a bit of a geek in that school. By the time it came to picking my GCSEs and my A-levels, I never really thought that medicine was going to be a career option for me, and I looked into other caring subjects like physiotherapy, and I did some experience in a hospital, and I went into hospital, worked with a physiotherapist, and realised that it wasn't really something that I found enjoyable. So I then looked around in the hospital and found that I really enjoyed doing things with doctors. But unfortunately by that point it was a bit late for me because I'd already picked my A-level subjects and I hadn't picked the right ones. I hadn't picked chemistry, I hadn't picked physics, and I'd already given up maths. So I went back and did a bit of research myself and found that I could do the added pre-medical year that Manchester offer. There are a few other places in the country that offer pre-medicine, but it's a small number. You also have to do the BMAT as well, and I went and did that myself. And I did this research myself. The school didn't really know how to offer any of this. There wasn't, because no one had ever done this in my school. This was all very unusual for them. So I went and did this research, and I went and applied for the subjects and the pre-medicine year. I then found one of the teachers at school who could help me write my personal statement. My English teacher was very helpful. No one knew how to particularly tailor it to medicine, but they were able to help me write the statement so that it was legible, and actually it was able to tailor it a bit more towards medicine. It's important to find someone who can proofread it and make it readable and useful, and there's always something that makes you stand out. I mean, you might not be able to have loads of medical experience, like some people who have been to the private schools have got loads of medical contacts and might have lots of things that you think make them stand out more, but you've always got something, like you've had a part-time job, you've had experience caring, or you've got some sports that you do. You can always write those in your personal statement, and having someone who you can talk it through with is important, like a teacher, and I'm sure that most of you would have that. So that's what I did. I also looked on some online forums because no one I knew had applied to medicine. I didn't have any medical contacts, so I looked on online forums and had a chat to people, and they were very useful, and I even met up with those people when I came to university. Often our careers advice was apprenticeship based rather than university based. We'd have lectures from the local car companies, and that would be come and have our apprenticeships. We've got lots of jobs for you and you'll do well, and you'll have a great career. You're going to have a job immediately. And it's very difficult to sell university to students who want to have a job and want to have money immediately, and who have often got social problems at home and have got families who want them to go out and get a job and want them to have money immediately and don't want them to go to university, and have heard in the media that they're going to have debt. They weren't being told that they were going to get a good job at the end. They weren't being told that they were going to have a great time, because they didn't know many people who were going to university. Or instead they were just being told, here, have a job from this factory. That was the main thing they were being told. I was the only student who applied, and no one had applied for medicine for, I don't know, 20 years. I've been working in medicine ever since, and I'm happy. Sorry.